kick this off with asking you a little bit about your background and talk to me about when you first started getting into football, really. I know that's going a bit deep, but I'd love to hear more about your story and more how you got into football and eventually got on to Minnesota.
So, I grew up in North Minneapolis. I'm the oldest of six. And I played pretty much every sport growing up. I played basketball, I played baseball, played hockey for a winter, and also football. My first year of football was whenever I was 9 years old, and been able to make a lot of friends throughout this whole football thing.
Nice, man. I heard you played hockey. Were you a pretty good hockey player or what?
I was all right.
Did you play forward, defenseman? Where'd you play?
At that young of age,
there really isn't positions.
Not too much positions. You just go out there and just run, just skate.
So in high school, you played football in high school all 4 years?
Yeah.
And what position did you play then?
I played quarterback in high school.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was a quarterback and a defensive back.
Nice. And then talk to me about your recruiting process. You know, how many offers did you receive? Did people want you to play quarterback, want you to play receiver? How did that process go?
The recruiting process was, I'm sure you know, but was especially in the Big Ten, and some out west, some down south as well, and a lot of schools was recruiting me as a defensive back. Some was a quarterback, but I was really listed as an athlete. So some schools wanted me to come down there and play receiver,
Gotcha.
Not knowing that I could play receiver, but they wanted to try it out. Most was defensive back and half quarterback though. But and then once I got here, I was on my official visit at the University of Minnesota. Talked to the coach and told him, I wanted to play wide receiver, and he said that I can do whatever I want. If I end up wanting to change back to quarterback, just let them know. So still learning about the position, still having fun with it, but I'm just blessed to be in this position.
Yeah. And so what made you want to play receiver after playing quarterback and defensive back in high school? What made you want to make that switch to receiver?
Well, at the time, I would say that, I wanted to get on the field as quickly as possible. We had a vet quarterback, and I didn't want to redshirt. I wanted to help my team if that was possible. So there was times growing up where I just always wanted to play receiver, but the coach wouldn't let me, and making that switch it was challenging because you step into a whole different ball game pretty much. So you gotta study the game, you gotta study players, study different coverages, and put everything together. So it's definitely challenges, and I'm still learning.
Yeah, well, what would you say the hardest part about that transition was? I mean, I know learning a route tree and learning to run routes must have been difficult, but what do you think the hardest part about that was?
Knowing and understanding that everything is about timing. The receiver has to be on the same page as the quarterback, and throughout a game, there's going to be times where a defensive back is trying to throw the timing off. But in your mind, you have to still know in the back of your head that, okay, this is a time and play right here, and I have to be at this certain area at this certain time. So, but yeah, I would definitely say just knowing and understanding the timing about each and everything.
Nice, man. Well, I want to get more into kind of more recent stuff, too. I want to talk about the combine and things like that. How did the week go for you? I know you didn't test, obviously still working to test your pro day, but how did that week go for you meeting with NFL teams?
It was good. I'm very excited that I had the chance to go out there and talk about football with, where I'm going to end up pretty much. And the overall experience was great. It was a great group of guys that I was down there with, and it was a lot of fun.
What were some of the common questions that teams asked you? What were you kind of in a lot of different meetings you heard questions about?
I would say it's hard to remember, what type of questions you get.
Yeah.
Just because you're pretty much down there, you get asked almost the same thing by everybody. Some is asking more different, deeper things, but I would say that the main thing that I was asked is the background question. just like you asked, pretty much. Tell me about your background. I know that off the top of my head, so that's what I would say.
Yeah, and I think so. Not testing at the combine. What are your expectations for your pro day? Do you have high expectations for your pro day? What do you want to prove to these guys what you can do athletically?
Well, I mean, I really just want to go out there and be me. I feel like just going out there competing is very important, and the rest will do itself.
Do you do a ton of reading online or looking on Twitter, kind of like where people see you in this draft class?
Nope. I don't do none of that. I feel like whenever you do that, it takes away excitement. It brings down your joy. It's pretty much like poisoning, because people are pretty much out there. They'll say one bad thing and that'll just keep rolling. It'll just keep rolling. You see it, and it just gets stuck down inside you. So, I'm not saying that I'm not on it, but I just if I tend to see something like that, scroll by it real quick.
Yeah.
Don't let it get to me.
So, what does that make you, I guess, I mean, I don't want to dive into it too much, but I'd be interested to know kind of your take when you see guys, question your character, or they question, why isn't this guy testing, or what's he, why did he not play in the East-West Shrine game, and all these things. Like, what goes through your head there? I'm not trying to pry too much, but I am interested to know when you do read that kind of negative stuff, what goes through your head, and what do you think about?
People don't really know me, and I say that because it's pretty much a lot that I go through and I've grew up with, and for some like a character statement to come up with, they definitely don't know me. They don't know the type of person I am, and on top of that, people they all have their opinions on somebody and why they don't do things, but at the end of the day, you got to do what's best for you. So I don't want to feel rushed about anything that I'm doing, and I know that God has a plan, and he has the right plan for me.
What do you think, and I've had opportunity to talk to some teammates, coaches, but what do you think your teammates and your coaches say about Tyler Johnson? What kind of impression do you think you leave on the people you've worked with on your team in the past?
A leader, a hard worker, very competitive, and he loves the game, a student of the game at that. So I believe that those are pretty much things that come to my teammates' mind, or at least that's what type of impact I attempt to have on everybody.
All right, last thing I want to ask you, I've been asking other prospects as well. It's like, so you go to the you go to the combine. Obviously, you didn't test, but you see these receivers test 3-cone, 40-yard dash. They do through them with the drills. What do you think is the most important part of the combine for the wide receiver position? Is it the 40-yard dash that gets thrown on TV and everyone loves it, or is it something else? Is it the interviews? Is it medicals? Is it the broad jump? What do you think is the most important thing to prove or to do at the combine? In my opinion, I'll say the interviews. All the testing stuff is, it's a great experience and it's cool and all, but we all play football, and some people will say it translates over, some people will say it doesn't, but we really just here to play football. We love the game. We love what the game has to offer. We love the relationships we bring with it, that comes with it. And at the end of the day, that's what we want to do, and being able to talk football with coaches, with great minds of the games, and, them being able to see and understand what we can bring to the table, what we can teach them, what we can learn from them. Those type of things, they carry over, and they carry in the long run. So that's what I would have to say is the most important thing of the combine, in my opinion. Great, man. Well, I really do appreciate your time, and I do wish you the best of luck moving forward, and best of luck.
I appreciate you.
Thanks, Tyler. Have a good one.
Thank you, too.
You want to get rid of me and get back to more great PFF YouTube content? All you have to do is push that button right there and subscribe. Thanks for watching.